level of pride that I have with how my son has reacted to all this and for the things that he's been through, his health issues or not, but he's a double kidney transplant recipient. So, the show also has served as an outlet for me and my wife to kind of forget about some of the things that are going on and to kind of take your mind off of those things. So there's that as well. But to see that he wanted to give back to Chop through his Eagle project and through the toy drive was just fantastic. And it's great to see him out there. And I love the interactions between some of our guests that come out and they interact with him with the Eagle project and how they regard, like, oh my gosh, you're out here, this is fantastic, it's so great to see you in good health and things like that. So it's great all the way around.
Adam, what's up, man? How you doing?
Great. It's a pleasure to meet you, Chad.
You too, man. I've heard a lot about you in a short period of time from Jamie Gwynn, and during our conversation, man, he was telling me about what you're doing with the Christmas lights, and so I actually was on your YouTube channel, and I was looking at some old videos from 2018.
Yeah. And I mean, if I were to estimate, there's probably 100,000 lights out there. So the way that we're set up is you drive to the house, you tune to a radio station, and you sit and enjoy the show, and then you leave. And the show every year is about 18, 19 minutes, and we run it every half hour from 6 to 10 p.m. every night. So that's pretty much the format of it. So I'd say we get anywhere between, we're running light this year. I think we're projected to have about 1,700 cars that'll come out to see us this year. We've had as high as like 4,000 in years past. So numbers are pretty light this year for a number of different reasons. Don't quite know why, but yeah. So that's the general format.
Dude, that is amazing. I was my son and I were watching Christmas Vacation the other night, and the scene with the lights still gets me because of just the neighborhood aspect and your neighbors and how many lights and, like you said, how crazy people get with the numbers of lights they put up. How long have you been doing it? How many years?
This will be, I think this is our 13th show, but I've been doing it for about 15 years. So right around when my son was born, we started doing this, and I guess it was 2007 roughly. So it's been quite a while, and it just, like anything, it just grows and grows and grows, and and you end up where you're at, and then you have people ask you, how do you do this? I don't really know. It's been a 15-year process.
I read an article when you actually, I don't know if it was Facebook or where it was, but it was, you stopped doing it. Is that right? You stopped doing it and your neighbors kind of helped pick up some of the slack. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, we never expected to get the interest in this thing that when we first started. So when I did this in, the early 2000s, say the 2010s, roughly. I don't even know how you reference that time period anymore.
Tens,
yeah, the tens. We'd get 20 cars a night that would come out, or we'd get 5 cars a night that would come out, and it was very manageable. I don't know what happened, but word got out, and we just got inundated the one year. And I look outside, and I'd start praying like, oh, dear God, please don't let there be 15 cars out there. You'd open a door and there's 20 cars out there. And it's like, what am I going to do? So then, neighbors would try to start to come in or whatever. And it just got to be a real hassle. So, and we don't want to hassle anybody. And, people have to live in this neighborhood. So I pulled everybody into the kitchen the one night. It was like, let's have a big meeting. We got to talk about this thing because it's getting out of hand. And, some folks were starting to get a little upset about it, and rightly so. And I said, look, I'll shut this thing down. We don't have to do it. I like doing it, but this really isn't my show. This is our show. So let's decide together what we want to do. And it was fantastic. Everybody, started pitching ideas. Maybe if you did this, maybe if if you contacted the township and got some cones and things like that, then maybe we can kind of control traffic. And unfortunately for you, bud, you're going to have to stand out here and take care of this thing, which I was more than happy to do. So that's really what gave rise to being out in the street every night, which is fantastic, by the way. 4 hours every night. My son and I are out there. My wife comes out, and a lot of the neighbors come out. So it's turned into this community effort, if you will, uh, and just a great night of fun and entertainment for everybody. And everybody comes out to see the show and whatnot. So it's really turned into this awesome project that we do, and it's very well controlled. And it was just a great example of people coming together to do something for the community. And we threw the food drive into it a couple years back, and we're doing a toy drive, or my son, I should say, is doing a toy drive this year for Children's Hospital. So it's evolved over the years into this awesome thing that brings people together, and we just love it.
I love that because Christmas to me is such a magical time, and it's a magical time for the children. It's a magical time for, I think, for people in general. It's an excuse to let our guard down, right? And hopefully something that we try to do 365 days, but we don't. And it's just a great time to bring people together. And I love hearing that about your community and your neighborhood. What was your motivation for doing this? What inspired you to start this?
Wow, that's a great question. So I mean, you could take this all the way back 25 years when I was in college. I was asked to do a senior synthesis project on something, and I've always loved Christmas lights, even as a little kid. And I always had this idea of doing Christmas lights with music, and I was told that there's no practical application in that, Adam. I was like, okay, but it's really cool. And they're like, it really isn't. You have to pick something that makes sense, it makes business sense, and this and that. I was like, I bet you I could weave something, business related into that. No, go pick something else. So I don't even know what I picked, and I don't even know what I did, and it doesn't matter. When my wife and I got married, we moved into the house. I started thinking about it, and I was like, I want to try something. And one thing led to another. I think there was a beer commercial or something that somebody actually did what I was thinking, and it was like, there's software, there's hardware out there that you can do this. And I started researching it, and sure enough, there's stuff out there. And that was it. I bought a board, a 16 channel solid state relay board, threw a couple of lights into it. My neighbor, who comes out every night to help, he and I were talking. This was, I think, the August time frame or something like that. And he was like, "You're not doing a Christmas light show." He's like, "If you do a Christmas light show, I'll come out and I'll give hot chocolate out to everybody that comes." And he came out and he lived up to that, and he gave hot chocolate out. So we still joke about that. So it was this little rinky dink show that I did, and just, you picked 6 random songs and you sequenced them, and it would hold your attention for 5 or 6 minutes, and then people would leave. And that was it. And from that point on, I was hooked. And the next year, I got another board. And then the next year, I got 2 more boards. So now I've got 4. And then I got 8. And then I got 16. And then the technology really started to take off. And all like the LED lights and the pixels and all that kind of stuff really start hitting the market. And got in with a group of guys, and we started really having fun, having lab nights and things like that, and just building some awesome things and weaving those into these features that we put into the light show. And, again, it's just, year over year over year, you just get an idea of what you want to build, and then you start weaving that into a show. And that's really how it got started, and is continuing to this day.
Do your kids like it?
Yeah, I only got the one. Adam Jr. is our only one, but he really hadn't been involved in this for a long time. And, he would give me ideas for things that he wanted to do, and I would try to get him into it. And I'd say this year, he really broke out of that shell, and he wants to go outside every night and direct traffic. He wants to go out and give business cards out for for his Eagle project, and he wants to get involved with everything. So I'm really pleased to see that he's taken a leadership position or a role in that. And, my wife, she kind of just managed the day-to-day in the house here, and kind of hunkered down while I dealt with this light show beast. So, and she's really getting involved with it as well. But she is really, she keeps me in line.
They all do. They all do.
And she has these great ideas for, why don't we build this, or why don't we build that, or why don't you go build this, and she's got some grand ideas that really come to fruition, and we pull it off. So it's really a team effort here with the family, and it's been a great experience.
That's incredible, man. Well, I wanted to celebrate you. I want to celebrate Adam and your family, your wife, and Adam Jr., and just celebrate you guys for the work you do in your neighborhood and your community of lifting people up. Every year, my family, we have a tradition. We put our jammies on, we make hot chocolate, and we drive around and look at
Yeah.
Christmas lights. We look forward to it every year. I did as a kid, and I do it with my
Yeah.
kids, and I know how much fun my kids have. I know how excited they
Yeah.
get. So I imagine there's 1,000 other families like mine that are driving around going to your house saying, "Hey, I want to let's go,
Yeah.
let's see." And that's a really cool thing,
Yeah.
man. So keep up the
Yeah.
great work.
Thank you.
Adam Jr., what is he doing for his Eagle Project for CHOP? Because that sounds, we need to hear that. That
Yeah,
sounds phenomenal.
absolutely. So, again, two-time kidney transplant recipient, 2010 and 2022. This year it was in July. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's been a roller coaster ride for sure. But he wanted to do. He's a Boy Scout and he's a Life Scout right now, and came up to do his Eagle project. And a lot of the Eagle projects that I see, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They're very conservation minded, which is awesome. But they kind of miss the mark, in my opinion. Sometimes they're not germane to the Scout. They don't encompass something that really hits home for a scout. They just kind of look for, where are we going to go plant some trees? Where are we going to go do a landscaping project or something? And again, I love the ideas; they're awesome. But Adam's different, and he was like, I want to do something that's different, and I want to do something that I can really have an impact and really give back to. I don't know what. And that I don't know what ended up being Children's Hospital Philadelphia, or CHOP, where he's had 2 transplants. So his goal was, I want to give toys to kids who find themselves in similar situations that I was in. So he's like, I remember when I was a kid, I would be, I'd be in house or something, and the Child Life Services department would come in, and they'd have some basket of toys or something for the kids to play with. And he was like, it made the stay so much more bearable, so much more positive, and it got your mind off of being there and whatnot. He's like, I want to be able to provide for kids like that, like I was provided for. So that was his idea. So we reached out to some folks at CHOP, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got this Amazon wish list, and we want to standardize the toys that come in. And if you want to push that list, that's awesome." And he came up with this idea of getting business cards. He's got 1,000 business cards printed up with this QR code on it. I probably should have grabbed one and showed you. But the QR code takes you right to the wish list, and you can purchase a toy off of it. And he built
Wow.
this whole script, and he leads all the scouts and volunteers that come out to help us out. And I've got a team of people every single night, or he's got a team of people every single night, I should say, out there talking about this wish list. And I'm not kidding you, Chad. I've got 300 boxes of packages from Amazon that have showed up to the door so far, and the basement is filled. And in fact, you know what? If I'm able to turn the camera here, I'll show it to you because
Please
I'm
do.
in the
Let's
basement.
see it.
So I don't have a flip function there, but there's there's
Holy
a bunch of the
moly.
toys that have come in so far. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
just 13, 14 days of operations, and we've got about 2 more weeks left to go with the show, and they're really heavy traffic nights. And I can tell you, I'm out there every night, and the people that I talk to, yeah, their eyes just go wide, and they're like, "Yes, I want to participate in this. Where can I get that QR code?" I'm like, "I've got one right here." And you're walking by, and they're literally shopping in their cars as they go. So it's been such a positive experience, and I'm so proud of him for leading that effort.
Tell us about that pride you and your wife have in Adam Jr. I'd love to hear about this.
You know, when you're a parent of a child who has gone through traumatic experiences, it's really difficult. Parenting that child is much different than the average bear would do. Um, it's constantly in the back of your mind, and thinking about the struggles that they have to go through that other kids don't. You parent differently, and things that matter to most people don't matter to us at all. At the end of the day, he brings a bad grade home or something from school. I really don't care. You're healthy.
Hmm.
You're healthy. And
Wow.
the car broke down. I hit a deer last year, and it was like I hit the deer, and I'm like, hit a deer. I guess we're gonna have to get the car fixed. No big deal. It's like there are bigger fish to fry here. So it puts life into a perspective that most people don't have. And you don't realize what's important in life until you go through really traumatic things like this. And he's adopted that thinking, and that's what I'm most thankful and prideful. The pride that I have in Adam is that he's adopted that, and to watch him interact with other people and to see the empathy that he has kind of taken on is incredible for a 16-year-old. You know, I was never like that when I was 16 years old. It was all about me, but he thinks about others, and he's constantly thinking about how do I give back and how do I make somebody else's life better. It's just it gives me an incredible sense of pride to watch him go through that. And I have to say, watching a child go through like things like dialysis, incredibly difficult. But like you and I had some issues here with getting this technology up and running. You persevere and you plow through it, and you don't have a choice. You have to go through it. So
Right.
facing those kinds of obstacles and watching him face those things down is just it's been a privilege and an honor as a father to watch him go through it. But yeah, he's a really really great kid, and to see since he had that second transplant here in July, he's completely changed. For the better. It's like a new kid. He never ate well. He's eating fantastically. He wants to go to school. He wants to. It's great.
It is incredible. For people that don't know, that are watching this, uh, we had some technological issues and we couldn't figure it out. And Adam's, we're going to get it. We're going to figure this thing out. We're going to persevere through it. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that as any human being, that we're going to have some bad moments or bad days, and we got to persevere through that and not complain
Yeah.
about it. Adam, you're an incredible guy.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, you're showing me, you're flipping your camera around. You got Adam Jr. taking in all those gifts. You're doing Christmas lights for the community. I mean, how many people know your name or know who you
I have
are,
no idea.
right? And they need to know that. That's why we started it,
Yeah.
Adam. That's why, to highlight people like you, because as a father, I was listening to what you're talking about with Adam Jr. thinking, oh, I need to change this, or I need to do this better. Like, I'm actually applying your lesson. So, and I know I won't be the only one. So thank you for being resilient, for being a good father, for being a good community member, and thank you for it all. And I just want to celebrate you, man. Keep up the
Thank you
great
so
work.
much, Chad. I appreciate that.
All the best to you, man.
Appreciate it.
Take care
Yeah.
of
Thank
yourself.
you. You too.